Good morning. Welcome to day 3 of Myths of Meditation. I'm Dr. Cheryl Carthouse, a naturopathic doctor, and this week, every morning, I am doing a Myths of Meditation for Naturopathic Medicine Week. Naturopathic Medicine Week is a week within the year that across the country, all of the naturopathic associations try to push to just show the public what we do for naturopathic medicine and who your NDs are. Our association in Nova Scotia is the Naturopathic Association, the Nova Scotia Association of Naturopathic Doctors. So the acronym is NSAND, NSAND, and you can find us at nsand.ca. You can find out all of the events for this Naturopathic Medicine Week and previous ones on the NSAND Facebook page, which is where you might be watching this, or on our website. And you can find you can actually find a naturopathic doctor in your area as well on the website. If you don't actually find replays from previous Nova Scotia or previous Naturopathic Medicine Weeks on the website, check out the Facebook page because that's typically where they are. So this morning, on the third day of Myths of Meditation, meditation has to be done sitting. What do you think? If you joined me for the last 2 days, you might have some inclination towards an answer for this one. Or you might notice that I am not sitting down. Maybe you can't tell that. I'm not inside. Meditation can be done in a number of different ways, including walking meditations. And there are some Buddhist sects that actually use walking meditation quite a lot. Many different cultures use walking meditations as well. A goal of meditation is really to start being aware in everything that we do every single day. If someone becomes a serious meditator, that would be something that they want to obtain, that they are always mindful in the present moment in some fashion. Some who have been meditating for years would report that they sort of had this automatic running in the background of noticing things in the present moment. It's like a auto mindfulness happening with at least one sense in their body. And one sense, I mean either seeing, hearing, feeling, and we'll include taste and smell and all those sorts of things in the feeling category. So being mindful, what does that actually mean if we're trying to be totally aware within a moment? Is to be mindful of something that is happening. And often there are so many things happening in a particular moment, which is kind of funny because people will often report if they've never meditated or if they've tried it once and it didn't really work out, like, well, there's, nothing really going on, it's kind of boring, whatever. Have you ever inspected really closely just one handful of dirt from a garden? There's a million things going on in there. So many microbes. There might be things growing and these little sprouts happening. There might be ants crawling around. There's so much happening in any one moment if we really look at it close enough. And this idea of creating an awareness of the present moment is just that we are being mindful of something that is currently happening. It doesn't actually always matter what. If we're attempting to engage in a meditation practice and taking it a little bit seriously, which would mean that we're sort of aiming towards all of the fruits of meditation that can really, truly change our lives, as I've experienced myself as well, we want to be mindful of anything, of something, and have as much equanimity with that as possible. Sensations come and go, as you will also learn with meditation. And so it's just to pick one, any of them. It almost doesn't matter, arguably, and depending on what your instructions are, it may or may not matter. But to pick one sense that's happening currently in the moment, one experience, and trying to experience it absolutely fully, which means we are paying attention to it to the absolute best of our ability and maintaining equanimity, which means we are not trying to change it in any way, shape, or form. We're just going to really see what it's about, really be curious about what it's about. And so this morning, I would like to invite you to do a movement walking meditation with me. You can get into a place wherever is comfortable for you. You can do this around your home. You can do this outside. You can do this really wherever you have a little bit of space to move. And you could do a walking meditation as we're going to. You could also move on the spot. You could do a dance of some sort if you wanted to. Any sort of movement. So I invite you. We may want to keep our eyes open for this meditation. To start by checking in. How is it to be you in this exact moment? How is your mood? And whatever it is there, we want to just allow it to be exactly as it is. And we want to really look, really be curious, really check it out. Don't just assume, oh, this is how I woke up this morning, or this is what that person just said to me, and I know I'm feeling this way. Whether it be joyful or maybe a little frustrated or whatever it is. Just really check in exactly in this moment. What is your mood, and what does it mean? How do we know that that's our mood? Typically, there's sensations around the body that help us to know that this is our mood. This is the emotion we label it with because this sense is in my body. Once you really have tapped into how your body is feeling, how your mood is feeling, just check in with how your body's feeling. And do a quick scan from your toes all the way up to your head. And just see what parts of your body feel good, what parts of your body might have other sensations around them. They might be intense or subtle. And again, just allow them to be exactly as they are without changing anything. And then as we start in our movement meditation, I invite you to move really slowly so that you can get a sense of what that movement feels like in that particular body part. There's a lot going on as we move various joints. There's an automatic process of the body balancing. We're trying to balance. You might feel sensations on the bottom of your feet. Again, if we're walking, you feel the change of balance from one foot to the other. And so we're going to choose aspects of this sensation to pay attention to. If you keep your vision in the lower bottom visual field of your eyes, it actually helps us to tune into our body as well. That might be helpful for you. Keep your head up and just keep your vision in that lower visual field. So pay attention to the ground on your feet. Pay attention to where your heel and then your midfoot and your toes hit the floor. How does that feel different in each part of your foot as you step? How about then as you push off? And have a next step. How does that feel on your toes for them to lift up and then not have pressure? How does that feel for your other foot to land? Sometimes these sensations can take a moment to actually be fully noticed and to be curious about them. So feel free to stop and just concentrate and feel it. What does it feel for your heel to notice the ground? And again, can we be totally equanimous with this? If we're wearing shoes, or if the ground is even and cushy or even and comfortable, maybe easier to be equanimous with this, meaning we don't need to change it at all. It can just be exactly as it is. If we're outside walking around the blackberry bushes, there are a lot of thorns. Sometimes difficult to be equanimous with jolting pain sensations. We want to try to be equanimous as much as possible. Not that we continue to walk with a thorn in our foot, but that we can equanimize that initial sensation, take the thorn out, and keep going. We're practicing this idea of responding, of allowing something to be, properly taking choice to change it if we need to. Then, once you're comfortable paying attention to the sensation of the ground in relationship to your feet, pay attention to your other joints. What does your knee feel like to bend and to stretch out again? What are all of the sensations that your knee feels? Is it a sensation that your clothes are rubbing against it? Is it a sensation of your leg extending? Maybe one leg rubs against the other. We're not looking for anything special or digging for anything that we think is supposed to happen. We're just experiencing anything exactly as it is in this particular moment. Again, with that idea of we're not trying to change anything. We're just experiencing the sensation of the clothes on our body as it moves. Or the sensation of the ground against our feet. Or the sensation of the cool air on your skin. And just allowing it to be there without trying to change anything. And the pace really is up to you. I often find it much easier to fully attend to a sensation, or usually sensation, if I'm going slow enough. If I go too fast, it can feel like you miss a lot. But you can also go fast and see what that feels like. There aren't really too many rules in meditation, just that we want to be mindful, experience what actually is in the moment, and we aim to be equanimous with it, that it can be there without changing anything. And when we're outside, you may have other senses that are engaged. You hear the birds singing, or traffic noises. Anything that makes this moment and this experience exactly as it is what we're aiming to attend to. And if your mind wanders into things that you need to do today, things that happened yesterday, just bring your mind back to paying attention as best possible to the things that we notice here in this moment that we are being mindful of. As your mind wanders, bring it back again to the sensations that you feel as you move. And maybe there are other sensations just that are happening in your body. Maybe you really notice that you swallow hard, sensation in your throat. We're doing a walking meditation. Anything that happens in this moment is a legitimate thing to notice, to be mindful of. And if your mind wanders, just bring it back again. You might notice a sensation that initially you may have a bit of a reaction to. That feels cold, that feels whatever. Whenever you can catch yourself in that reaction, just stop as best that you can and equanimize it. A cold drops on your neck. There might be a bit of an initial reaction of tensing up. And if you notice that tensing up, you become aware of it, just relax it again. Think of the drop and see if you can equanimize that in the sense that it gets to be there exactly as it is. It's not necessarily something that we're going to do anything about. The drop is over. We may wipe it away from our neck. That tension we often still hold. And so this practice of equanimity is that something can arise. It can be fully experienced as it is without the need to change it, without that knee-jerk reaction to want it to go away. And then we practice that any time that you catch it in your awareness. Almost like taking a breath and bringing yourself to a calm place. After something happens, you step on a thorn. I'm just going to bring myself to a calm place for a moment. Pull the thorn out. Equanimize that feeling that's still there. Just that we accept it. We accept that this is how it is in this moment. We don't need to like it. We just need to accept that this is actually reality and that it is going to have a space in our life right now. I want to try to stay out of stories with these sensations and just bring it back to the current moment, your awareness and mindfulness. of noticing exactly what is. Again, in a walking meditation, often the act of walking, the sensations of our feet on the ground are a very accessible sensation to use. You can do this going about your morning, getting ready. Even driving to work. Just truly paying attention to everything that you feel, maybe the steering wheel on your hands, or just paying attention to that full experience of what does the steering wheel feel like on your hands. Again, nothing special. Just exactly as it is in this current moment. When your mind wanders, just bring it back again. Like every breath, every step is different. See if you can notice if there's something new in this step, and then in this step, and then in this step. When you start to get super curious, there's a whole world in every movement, in every sensation. And sometimes we can have a difficult time feeling body sensations if we have practiced in our lives and learned, often as children, to push our body sensations away due to experiences. And so we just practice right now being in them again. Just in something that feels neutral and safe. And if the sensation of walking, sensation of our feet on the ground is one of those for you, this could be a very helpful meditation for you. And again, when your mind wanders to any other thoughts, just bring your attention back to the sensations of the moment. We're not trying to push the thought away. We're just trying to tune in to something other than our thoughts. We can acknowledge the thought there. Okay, I have a list of things to do later. What do my feet feel like right now? It may somehow in our minds, we can tell ourselves a story that it's less important to do that, to be paying attention in this moment. However, once we start reaping the benefits of meditation, we understand how much easier, and I would argue better, our lives are. How much easier it is to do so many other things in our lives when we practice meditation for a short time every day. And just bring your attention back to your current moment. Again, the movement, sensations of your clothes, maybe the sensation of your breath. Maybe a sensation of you swallowing What muscles are used for swallowing? How do we feel them? And maybe you change the way you're walking just for a moment to be curious about how that feels. Maybe you move a little faster for a moment to see how that feels. Today I propose a challenge to see if you can, every time you walk, can you pay attention and notice how every step feels? Again, an important part being to stay equanimous and allow every step to be exactly as it is. I did chat with a fellow the other day in yoga. He's very frustrated at himself that he's losing his balance. Can that be okay if your step is a little off balance? Just accept it to be okay that this is exactly the experience that is happening. We can invite you to start doing yoga, start doing balance exercises, whatever it is. And at the same time, accept that this is part of your experience. So try not to push it away. Try to claim. I'd love to hear how your walking meditation goes today. If you're able to be mindful of a couple steps every time you get up. It can be a tricky one to remember. Let me know how it goes for you. If you have any other questions or any other myths that you would like to have answered or discussed over the next 2 days, please post them below. Thanks so much for joining.